Tommy Egan's world is falling apart. The man who built his empire from the blood and shadows of New York is now facing the one thing he never expected: justice for his brother's death. The streets that once feared him are now whispering his name with doubt. And in the Season 3 finale of Power Book 4, Force, Tommy isn't the hunter anymore. He's the hunted. Tommy always lived by one rule: loyalty over everything. But loyalty comes at a price. And his price was Ghost. For years, Tommy and Ghost were brothers, partners, and the kings of the New York drug world. Together, they ran the streets, outsmarted rivals, and built an empire that everyone wanted a piece of. Yet behind that bond was a storm waiting to explode. Every deal, every betrayal, every lie piled up until the day Ghost died, and Tommy's life changed forever. When Tommy left New York, he didn't just leave behind his past, he buried it. Chicago was supposed to be a fresh start, a new city, a new chance to build something for himself. He wanted to make his own name, not live under Ghost's shadow. But no matter how far Tommy ran, Ghost's presence followed him like a ghost in his own mind. Every move he made in Chicago was a reflection of what he learned from his brother: how to rule, how to kill, how to survive. And deep down, Tommy knew that even though Ghost was gone, his sins weren't buried with him. In the streets of Chicago, Tommy built his own network. He took on rivals, struck deals with dangerous people, and proved that he didn't need anyone to stand beside him. But power brings eyes: the feds, the cops, the enemies who never forget. And lately, they've been watching Tommy more closely than ever. What started as whispers about his growing empire turned into quiet investigations. Old files reopened, and new evidence pulled from the dust of his past. It wasn't about what Tommy was doing now, it was about what he might have done years ago. Rumors began to spread. Someone in law enforcement was digging into Ghost's murder again. Old surveillance footage, phone records, and names that were long erased were back in play. And then came the leak. A new piece of evidence that pointed straight at Tommy. Nobody knew where it came from, but it was enough to make the authorities act. For the first time since Ghost's death, Tommy's name was being spoken, not as a suspect, but as the killer. The city buzzed with the news, and the streets turned cold for the man who once ruled them with fire. But Tommy isn't the kind of man who runs when cornered. He's been through it all: betrayal, blood, and loss, and still found a way to stand tall. Yet this time, something feels different. The people around him have changed. The trust he once had in his circle is breaking. And the enemies closing in on him aren't gangsters, they're the law. As the walls start closing in, Tommy feels that old Ghost breathing down his neck again. Not Ghost the man, but Ghost the memory, the reminder of what he did, and what it cost him. Now the streets of Chicago are whispering a new story. The cops are calling it justice. The fans are calling it revenge. But for Tommy, it's personal. Because if he really is being framed for Ghost's murder, then someone out there knows the one truth he's tried to bury forever. And if that truth comes out, it won't just destroy his empire, it'll destroy the legend of Tommy Egan himself. The investigation does not start loud. It starts quiet, like a whisper in an empty room. A cold case analyst notices a pattern in old phone pings tied to the night Ghost died. A junior prosecutor, hungry to make a name, connects those pings to a burner number used by someone close to Tommy years ago. Files that once sat in dusty boxes are scanned, indexed, and fed into new software. Suddenly, names that were safe in the dark begin to glow on a screen. The case that everyone thought was buried starts breathing again, slow and steady, like a beast waking up at first. It is just paperwork, timelines, call logs, bank records that show nothing, until they do. There is a small money transfer made 2 days before Ghost's death, split into parts, moving through shell accounts. On its own, it means little. Matched with a late-night call to a phone near a loading dock where a car was seen idling, it means more. Add a voicemail that was deleted but later recovered from a cloud backup. And now the picture sharpens. Someone coordinated movement. Someone called in a favor, and that someone could be Tommy. None of this proves murder, but it suggests planning. And planning is what prosecutors can sell to a jury as intent. Word of the renewed focus does not hit the streets right away. It leaks in pieces. A blogger posts that the Ghost case is heating up. A street source hears that a task force out of Chicago is working with a contact from New York. A cop who hates losing asks for a subpoena on a warehouse camera near an old meat spot. Then an anonymous witness appears, someone who once ran with people who knew both Tommy and Ghost. This person claims they heard Tommy swear that if Ghost ever crossed him again, he would end it for good. Is it truth? Is it a lie? It doesn't matter yet. What matters is that the statement makes it into a report, and the report becomes a brick. Brick by brick, a wall rises around Tommy. Tommy feels it before he sees it. The quiet surveillance cars that linger a second too long. The unmarked sedan near the shop with two silhouettes who pretend not to look. A few trusted people grow nervous. Texts get shorter, and favors take longer to land. Deals that once came easy now come with questions. Did you hear they're asking about New York? Did you hear they found something new? Tommy is not afraid of rivals. He can read a hitter from a block away. This is different. This is paperwork and patience. This is the system. And the system always smiles before it bites. The task force builds a timeline and then tears it down to test for weak spots. They mark the night Ghost died, then work backward. Where was Tommy that afternoon? Who can place him? They stack statements. They map routes. They pull cell site data, then run it against traffic cameras. A grainy frame shows a car that looks like a ride Tommy once drove. The plate is unreadable. The angle is bad. But to a hungry prosecutor, it is consistent. Consistent becomes likely. Likely becomes probable. And probable, tied to a witness and old beef, becomes a warrant. Still, there are cracks. Chain of custody on one piece of physical evidence is messy. The anonymous witness has their own charges, their own deals to cut. A rival might be feeding the fire, hoping to burn Tommy from a distance. Tommy knows all of this. He also knows the difference between noise and threat. He keeps his circle close, but not so close that someone can hear his heartbeat. He checks on the people he loves without showing that he is checking. He plans routes and escape plans he hopes he never has to use. He tells himself this is just smoke. Then the smoke starts to sting. A rumor surfaces that someone inside the department is trading information. Maybe a cop with money problems? Maybe a clerk with a grudge. Names float, denied by day and whispered by night. Another clue lands. A partial print lifted years ago from an object near the scene. Tossed then as inconclusive, now matched to a new database with moderate confidence. Moderate confidence is not proof, but it is enough for a headline, enough for a judge who has seen worse cases end in convictions, enough for a team that wants to move before the target disappears. Tommy looks at the city he chose. Chicago gave him new rules and new enemies, but it also gave him purpose. He is not the man he was with Ghost. He is colder in some ways, softer in others. He feels old scars every time someone says Ghost's name. He hears promises he can't keep in the silence between footsteps. He tells himself he did what he had to do to survive, but survival leaves footprints. And now, men with badges are kneeling to measure those prints like detectives at a snowfield. Patient and careful, certain that all trails lead somewhere if you follow long enough. Friends ask if he is okay. Tommy nods, the way men nod when they choose not to speak. He keeps working, keeps moving money, keeps playing the game. Yet he cannot ignore the tightening circle. He senses betrayal like a change in the weather. First a breeze, then a chill, then a wind that cuts the skin. Is it someone close? Is it a rival in a clean suit? Is it a ghost of the past taking shape in the present? Tommy tells himself not to guess. Guessing is how you make mistakes. He waits. He watches. He plans. Then comes the moment that shifts everything from rumor to reality. A judge signs off. A team gathers before dawn. Phones light up with green checks and short replies. The warrant is live. The plan is simple. Catch him outside. Keep it clean. Keep it fast. Get him in cuffs before he knows which way to run. Tommy has always been a step ahead, but the clock is merciless, and the past keeps perfect time. The investigation is no longer a whisper. It has a voice, a badge, and an address, and it is headed straight for Tommy. The air in Chicago feels different tonight, thicker, heavier, as if the city itself knows what's about to happen. The hum of engines and the low crackle of radios mix with the whisper of rain. Somewhere in the maze of streets, Tommy Egan's name echoes through the police channels. His arrest isn't a rumor anymore. It's an order, the kind that comes with backup vests, and a promise. Bring him in alive. But bring him in. Tommy doesn't know the time is ticking down on him. He's sitting in his car outside one of his garages, going through a mental checklist. Drops money routes. Who's loyal? Who's weak? He can feel something off, like the calm before a gunfight. He trusts his instincts more than any friend. And right now, they're screaming. The phone buzzes. It's one of his guys. Just 3 words. They're coming, bro. That's all it takes. Tommy's jaw tightens. He starts the engine, but the sound of a distant siren freezes him for half a second. He looks in the rearview mirror, and sees flashing blue and red cutting through the rain. For a man like Tommy, fear doesn't come easy, but this moment isn't fear, it's fury. Everything he's built, everything he's survived, feels like it's collapsing under the weight of a lie. He knows he didn't kill Ghost. Not like this, not the way they're saying. But truth means nothing when the law already made up its mind. He pulls out of the alley, tires slicing through puddles, headlights carving a path through darkness. He's been chased before, but this isn't the same. This isn't street beef. This is the system hunting him. By the time he reaches the bridge, 3 squad cars block the way. He slows, eyes darting to the sides. There's no clean exit. A spotlight hits the windshield. A voice booms through a loudspeaker, commanding him to step out of the vehicle. Tommy's hands grip the wheel so tight his knuckles go white. In another life, he'd floor it, take the fight hit on. But this isn't New York. These aren't rival crews. This is the end game. Slowly, he cuts the engine. The silence that follows feels endless. He steps out, rain falling over his jacket. The same one he's worn through wars, deals, and betrayals. The cops shout commands, but Tommy doesn't flinch. He just stares forward, unblinking as they close in. The metallic click of handcuffs sounds louder than thunder. They pull his arms back, push his head down, and for the first time in a long time, Tommy doesn't fight back. He knows resistance only feeds the story they've already written. He's the monster, the killer, the brother who turned on Ghost as they shove him into the back of the cruiser. The city lights blur through the rain-streaked window. For a second, he sees Ghost's reflection beside his own. Not the real Ghost, but the memory, the smirk, the cold eyes, the brother he both loved and hated. Tommy whispers under his breath, "You still haunting me?" Huh. The memory fades, leaving only flashing lights and silence. The news breaks before he even reaches the station. Headlines spread across social media like wildfire. Tommy Egan arrested for the murder of James Ghost St. Patrick. Fans of the old world, of the Power Saga, light up the internet. Some say it's about time. Others swear it's a setup. But none of them know the truth, that the man in cuffs isn't broken, just waiting. Because Tommy Egan doesn't bow, not even to fate. Inside the station, the tone changes. Detectives move like vultures around fresh meat. Photos of Ghosts lie spread across the table, alongside Tommy's old mugshots. They think this is justice. They think they've caught the villain. But as Tommy stares at those photos, his silence becomes his weapon. Every question they throw bounces off the wall of his calm. Every accusation only fuels the fire building behind his eyes. And somewhere, out there in the dark, someone is smiling. The person who planted the trail, who pulled the strings, who made sure Tommy would take the fall. They know this isn't the end of Tommy Egan, it's the beginning of his revenge. Because when you cage a man like Tommy, you don't kill him. You just give him time to plan. The city keeps raining. The cops keep talking. But in Tommy's mind, he's already rewriting the story. And this time, when the tables turn, no Ghost will be left standing. The world reacts fast. Within hours, social media becomes a war zone of theories, outrage, and disbelief. Screens light up with Tommy's face, the mugshot of a man who has survived everything but trust. Fans across the world argue in comment threads and live streams, trying to piece together what really happened. Some believe this is the long-awaited justice for Ghost's murder. Others refuse to buy it. They say Tommy's being set up, framed by someone who knows his weaknesses better than anyone ever could. The digital noise grows louder, but behind it all is one question that no one can answer. Who really killed Ghost? In every corner of the fandom, names start to surface. Tariq St. Patrick, Ghost's son, the one who once called Tommy family. Could he have turned on him to save himself? Maybe he tipped off the feds to close an old case. Or maybe he wanted revenge for everything Tommy put their family through. Then there's Claudia Flynn, the sharp and ruthless queen of Chicago's underworld, who never forgives and never forgets. Some say she fed the police the evidence, trading Tommy's freedom for her own empire. Others think the real hand behind this is deeper, someone from the shadows, pulling strings for years, waiting for the right moment to destroy Tommy completely. As the theories explode, Tommy sits in a cell that feels too small for a man like him. The fluorescent lights hum above, cold and lifeless. The city outside keeps moving, but inside those walls, time stops. Tommy's eyes don't wander. They focus. Every second, he's replaying the past, every deal, every conversation, every enemy he ever made. Someone close to him betrayed him. He can feel it in his bones. Betrayal has a scent. And it's thick in the air now. But here's the thing about Tommy Egan. You can cage his body, but never his mind. Even behind bars, his presence spreads like smoke. His allies on the outside start moving, making calls, shifting money, finding out who's talking to the cops. Word gets back to the streets, and suddenly the people who thought Tommy was finished start watching their backs. Because if Tommy didn't kill Ghost, then whoever set him up just made the biggest mistake of their life. They left him breathing. The city itself feels like it's holding its breath. The underworld knows that when Tommy gets out, and he will get out, there'll be blood. Some of his enemies are already disappearing. Some allies are switching sides, trying to guess where the power will fall next. Chicago thrives on chaos, and Tommy has always been its heartbeat. Even now, in chains, that pulse hasn't stopped. And the fans, the ones who've followed him since the beginning, they can't let go either. Every post, every tweet, every theory turns into fuel for what's next. Some whisper that Ghost isn't really dead, that he faked his death and framed Tommy to tie up old scores. Others believe the Force finale is setting up something even bigger: Ghost's return, Tariq's betrayal, or Tommy's revenge from behind bars. The writers have left the door wide open, and everyone's waiting for the explosion. As the season closes, the final shot lingers. Tommy staring out from his cell window, rain sliding down the glass, his reflection split by the iron bars. His face is calm, but his eyes are on fire. He isn't broken. He isn't done. He's just waiting for the world to give him one reason to strike back. And when it does, Chicago will burn again. Because in the world of power, ghosts don't rest, and neither does Tommy Egan.